This is going to be Sunken Temple as a protection paladin. What used to be a huge sprawling dungeon reduced to just one room with a couple of branches off of it. Mage, hunter, rogue, and what was that healer? I didn't see when I was clicking on people. 2 Volpera, same server. Here together. Oh hey, look at my number 9. Divine Protection, I finally learned what it was called, has now turned into Ardent Defender. Still reduces all damage taken by 20% for, what level am I? For 8 seconds or whatever, but also protects against some amount of killing blows. That amount might be 1, I'm not sure. Anyway, so similar ability, just gains a little bit more, one more thing to it. Level 51, okay, cool. Alright, so I'd planned my route through here. I see a lot of people coming into this dungeon without a route clearly planned out, and there's a very common wrong turn that's taken. Not that there's much... There are a lot of turns to take wrong, but there's at least a couple. One of these... I think it's the Nightmare Wanderer, will cast Sleep. Let's watch for it. Good thing to silence or interrupt or whatever. Paladin's always great at that, of course, because of Avenger's Shield. Alright, that's a Holy Priest, by the way. I can tell by the sounds. Basically nothing going on in this hallway. 2 Hakari Sappers. Trying to pick up the other one, but it's way too far away. And I really don't like to move after I'm already in combat with one thing. Again, I see a lot of tanks do this. They'll just run away when their target's at 25% health. Leave everybody else to clean up their mess while they start a new mess. I like to plant my feet until the current combat is done. I don't absolutely always do it, but it's my preference. A lot of stuns in here. Mind controls, sleeps. This is a place about losing control of your character. Right, this boss is summoned. There we go. Pick that one up. My feet are still planted, but now somebody else is coming to my place. Yeah, this boss is summoned. You gotta think about stuff like this when you're the group leader. You know, somebody needs to use that egg to summon Avatar of Hakar. And ideally it should be the person who's starting the encounter. Any other role, you can come in here and it'll just be done for you, but you know, I have to do a thing here. So Hakar is the Soul Flayer? Okay, next boss we're gonna fight will keep saying, "The Soul Flayer comes!" Or maybe he just says it once at the start. Okay. So that's what he's talking about. Hold on, is this skeleton we're fighting supposed to be the same as the skeleton that's still there on the floor? The floor one doesn't disappear when it animates and starts attacking us. Just like this thing I was talking about in Zilfarak, where, you know, quest NPC will run into a copy of themselves and then slowly merge together. It's just the normal way this game goes. You can keep going that same direction and go all the way around the loop that way, but this way you don't have to fight things, because the hallway's already clear. You use the entrance as the exit, and it's just quicker. Then straight across the circle in the middle, for Jamalan the Prophet. Am I going to actually go straight across? So yeah, the wrong turn I see people do a lot here is they'll turn south here for, what's the last dude? It's on the screen. Shade of Ironicus. Right. So you have to kill Jamalan first before Shade of Ironicus will start existing, I think? I'm not sure about Avatar of Hakar, though. I assume you gotta take both of those. I don't think you have to kill Hakar before Jamalan, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried to do it in the other order. It's just more convenient to go for Avatar of Hakar first. And that's the way I've always done it, so I don't know any difference. little more going on in this hallway. More things that will cast sleep here. Yeah, pretty sure it's the Nightmare Wanderer. Maybe also the Nightmare Wormkin. I'm watching for cast bars. They both start with W. It's something that starts with a W, but I'm not sure which thing. That was probably a check behind me just to make sure nobody had found any additional trouble I hadn't noticed. Sometimes that happens. Alright, so I had a plan for this room. If you remember last time we saw this, this was kind of a mess because of fear effects. I was going to be super careful about this. So I'm going to throw my shield, then move all the way back here out of line of sight. Be super careful and deliberate about this. That way when fear goes off, because inevitably it will, we're far enough away that no one should also get involved. Maybe if whoever was feared did run a straight line directly toward... Oh, don't stand those spirits, by the way. Just ignore them, and they'll go away. Yeah, so we're going to go around here again. I saw the hunter interact with that thing without misdirecting me. It's fine, though. Just laid a little additional threat on everybody. There goes that fear. I think we are actually far enough away that full duration fear going directly toward the trouble would not reach the trouble before it expired in this spot. That's what it looks like to me. So yeah, if you want to be really sure about fear effects, that's a way to handle it. Or just keep them interrupted, if you're confident in that. You can just do this in the middle of the room. I decided to try taunting to see what would happen, I guess. It said immune, and the nameplate stayed yellow. Maybe. I couldn't tell. Because if it's actually highlighted, it doesn't change color. And then one of them died before I got into the look. Okay, well, who knows? Doesn't matter much. The corpse eater was actually eating a corpse. Still doing it. I think they heal from that, but not fast enough to... Yeah, okay, that was clearer. That was a taunt that did nothing to change that spirit's path. The immune was maybe from ticks of my consecration? I think that's what I was seeing. And with few enough in here, we might as well just fight in the middle of the room. Yeah, so not much to this room when you know what to do, but there are ways for it to go wrong if you don't. I came in with a plan, and the plan worked great. 3 Deathwalkers. Okay, all the same, so they'll all leave spirits behind. Yeah. So Deathwalkers leave spirits. They're not the ones that fear, I guess? I forget which ones are the ones that fear. Not the corpse eaters, so the priests probably? Makes sense. The Soul Flayer comes. Alright, so another kind of control loss. Oh, 2 more. So we get rooted, and who's joining us? Nobody right now? That probably targeted a pet. Okay, now I get mind controlled. And transformed. Am I like rooted or something? I wasn't moving. But now I am. Okay, control has returned to me. I accidentally taunted Jamalan instead of Ogam the Wretched, who I was aiming for, but I didn't manage to actually target him. Trying to Hammer of Justice, but I think I already used it under mind control, so it didn't go off. So just stay out of the way of the mind-controlled party member. This is not an encounter where you want to deal them damage to break it. It doesn't break that way. Just leave them alone, stay away. You can kind of just, like, read that what am I trying to say? Understand what to do just by sight reading, since the mind-controlled one turns into a big hulking brute who moves very slowly and fixates on someone. Anytime that happens... Oh, something's happened here. Anytime that happens, you usually just want to run away. Stay out of range. So UI got real confused here. It thinks thinks my hunter friend is my enemy now. And also my my party frame still has a red frame around it. Yeah, so game UI doesn't really know how to handle that mind control. This has happened to me a couple of other times when I ran this too. Probably if I typed /reload it would fix itself, but that takes a moment. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a red party frame for the rest of this. You know not what you do. I must destroy you for your own good. Okay, so 2 dragons swoop down. I didn't know this at the time, but I have since learned that Dream Scythe and Weaver here will come in and protect Shade of Ironicus if you fight him without dealing with them first. So you'd end up fighting all 3 at once, or possibly all 5 if you don't kill the other dragons on the way into him. That's a lot harder to do though because they guard his hallway. Might not be possible, maybe they don't come in, I don't know. But I do happen to know that these particular 2 dragons come in and fight you during the Shade of Ironicus fight if you don't deal with them ahead of time. And that's a little bit much to handle during that fight at the, you know, with the way this dungeon is tuned. You could probably do it with a decently coordinated party, but it's harder than necessary for this fight. Sure, I'm wishing for an Avenger's Shield so I can bring this Nightmare Wormkin to me. There it goes. I used it accidentally on the ones that were in melee range, though. Sleep, I saw that. So Wormkin definitely casts Sleep. Alright. Maybe it is them and is not the Wanderer, maybe it's both. But I know now for sure. Oh, Rogue also has the nameplate that shows me he's my enemy. Even though he's not. That's just going to be that way for the rest of this dungeon. Alright, 2 more big dragons. Morphos and Hazas. With the way they're flying around, you could probably avoid them if you were deliberately doing that. If this were a modern dungeon, there would totally be an achievement for... well, semi-modern at least. There'd totally be an achievement for engaging Shade of Ironicus without ever killing these dragons, then killing all 4, then defeating a Shade. That's exactly the sort of thing that heroic dungeon achievements, at least in, like, Cataclysm, Wrath of the Lich King, I think. In my mind, those are still modern. Leave me alone. Would award you. Achievements didn't exist in WoW Classic. Well, yeah. Whatever, you know. It didn't have a name, it was just World of Warcraft back then, because there weren't any expansions. But yeah, achievements were added... I don't know when. Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King. Somewhere in there. And you know, a lot of them were retroactively added to old stuff, but old dungeons didn't generally get things like that. Deep Slumber, yeah, that's real annoying. So a group's just lost its tank for 8 seconds or something. I have to taunt the Dragon Ghost back on me afterwards, and they just have to deal with a threat going to whoever is doing the most damage or whatever while I'm asleep, because nothing can be done about the Deep Slumber. It's very deep. It's just going to happen, and you have 8 seconds of, once again, loss of control. The theme of this dungeon. It's only 8 seconds though, not so bad really. Alright, there we go. Okay, I was wondering if I was going to run or teleport. Apparently I still don't know. I guess I'm running. I thought about teleporting. It's slightly faster to teleport. You can do either. Yeah, this one, the dungeon, the entrance is so close that it's barely a time save to teleport, but it is a little bit. That's a huge candle to my right. Wow. I felt like saying something. This was a pretty good run. Right, so this was the first tank character I had leveled in a while. Was still getting used to the feel of it, and that apparently made me a little bit more talkative with things like this. I am now again at the point where it's just like, you know, play any dungeon role, it's just normal, including the tank. It's just, oh, okay, I did a dungeon. Nothing special about it. So I don't feel inclined to say things like this anymore, I guess. I don't know. It just depends on the group vibe. Anyway, see you next time.